Hey folks, welcome to 2017. We'll be starting out the year by upgrading the junk drawer server, which is my secondary server, for those of you who don't know. Runs on the socket 1156 platform, has I think 4 gigs of RAM in it, an i3 540, and it used to have 4 1TB drives in it in RAID 10. That's the array right there. The new array will be this. It is a bunch of 2TB drives in RAID 10. I decided to max out what this motherboard can support with the 2TB drives because I tend to use the junk drawer for backups sometimes, and I need space for that. So I decided we need some new drives. So I got a bunch of brand new Hitachi 2TB drives. We'll have 4 of them in RAID 10, MD RAID 10. It'll be fantastic. The other thing I've decided to do is to give this thing a boot drive, since I have the extra SATA ports for it. Unlike my main file server, I don't have the extra SATA ports for that. But on this I do, so I've decided to go with this 40GB Intel SSD I've had for a while. This used to be the boot drive in one of my old servers, so it's being put back in duty again finally. Boot, the root partition and the swap partition will be on that, and the home partition will be all this. So that'll be pretty nice. So just to show you how awesome this case is for just a junk drawer server, I can attempt to put the drives back in. So just to show you how awesome this case is for a junk drawer server, it just uses these plastic things. I can just shove them back in, all in a row like this, and then plug them in at the back without any real problem. I do need an extra SATA cable for the boot drive, so I need to go find one of those. I do have some, actually. I could use one of these. I have some of these blue gigabyte ones, so I could use one of those. I might end up doing that, so there you have it. Everything is still the same. I think the only thing that I changed was the i3. I ended up putting the i3 in there because I had it, and it was the same wattage as the Pentium I had in there. I think it was a Pentium G9650. I wanted to use that in another board, and that it didn't end up working out, so I just decided to leave the i3 in here. Eventually, I might get a Supermicro board for this, but for now, there's no need. This works fine. It's been very stable. It's been a good board. Is the Asus P7H55MLE. So it's an H55 chipset board. And the H series chipsets, despite being sort of the lower end, are very stable and very reliable. I have not had a single problem out of this machine so far. So there you have it. We still have the Akbel 550 watt power supply. These things are tanks, man. They last forever. So there you have it. That's what I'm doing to the server. And this will free up, once I copy the data off of this array of disks, it will free up a bunch of 1TB drives for me to use elsewhere. I really need to put one in the basement computer. So I'm going to probably use one of the Western Digital Caviars for down there. And the rest will go elsewhere, I suppose. So there you have it. This is what the back of that drive cage looks like. Wires and crap everywhere. It's pretty bleh, but it's a server. It's not supposed to look pretty. It's supposed to be functional. Everything on this power supply requires SATA adapters, so I have them on everything, including this SSD up here. I actually had to move it up a bay because the SATA cable has a right angle connector on it, so that's kind of annoying. But I've got 5 drives in here now, including the boot drive. So now all I need to do is install Debian on the boot drive, configure all the partitions, and there you have it. Alright, I have the server hooked up and turned on. Got the SSD as the boot drive, the second boot drive, apart from the CD-ROM that we don't have installed. All the drives show up. Got all that Hitachi there. So yeah, everything is pretty much the way it needs to be. So I just need to get a Debian USB stick and we'll be on our way. Okay, we're at the point in the Debian installer where we partition the disks. So we go down to manual here, and you can see we have all our disks here. We have the 2 terabyte drives, we have the 40 gig SSD, which apparently had OS 10 on it. That's weird. Alright, so we're going to create a new partition table on that, an MS-DOS partition table. And we're going to ignore the flash reader there. So what we're going to do is take the Intel SSD here. Actually, you know what we're going to do first? We're going to go to Software RAID. You know what? Let's hit no, because actually we have to create new partition tables on every drive. See, I haven't done this in a while, so I have to, like, think a little bit. Okay, so now we have partition tables on all the drives. So configure software RAID, write the changes to the storage there. So you need to create an MD device. So this is where you create your array. Now, MD RAID, you have options. You can do RAID 0, 1, and 1, 5, 6, and 10. I don't like RAID 5. I don't like RAID 5 that much. RAID 6 is a little better. I think ZFS is better if you're going to do RAID 5 or 6. ZFS is the ideal option, actually, but you need a server motherboard that takes ECC memory to take advantage of ZFS properly. So this is why I'm using MD RAID. We're going to do RAID 10. Number of devices for the RAID array, that's 4, since we have 4 drives there. We have no spares, so we're going to pick all the ones that say 2 terabytes. We're going to pick those 4 there. As you can see, the ones that we did not pick, that's the SSD there, and that's the flash drive we're booting off of to install the OS. So, press continue now. Multiple copies, blah 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 blah. I think I leave this alone most of the time. Okay. We have an MD device, so let's go back to the partitioner. And there's your 4 terabyte software RAID device. So we're going to start by formatting the SSD. We're going to use 32 of it for the OS. Make that ext4, of course. Alright, there you go. We're going to use that 8 gigs there as swap. Make that a swap area. Bob's your uncle, there you go. And then we go up to the RAID 10 device over here. And we're going to use that as XFS file system. I prefer to use XFS with MD RAID because that's what it was designed for. I've had no real issues with it yet. Make that the /home folder. And there you go, XFS /home. Mount options are defaults, I guess. And there you go. We have the RAID 10 4 drives as /home in XFS. We have the root partition as ext4, 32 gigs, and we have 8 gigs of swap on the SSD, since I might as well just use up the rest of the space on there. It's probably never going to use swap because it's a file server, but I like to have swap just in case there's a weird memory leak somewhere. So we're going to finish partitioning and write the changes to the disk. And there's your summary. You get your XFS in the RAID device, you get your ext4 for the root, and the swap for the swap. And there you go, it's formatting. That is how easy it is on Debian to create a software RAID. It is very, very simple. MD RAID is great for that because you can just leave it alone. And if you need to configure it later, you just use some commands, and that's really it. And there you go, your RAID is configured and you can continue to install Debian. There, I have the server back in its place with a bunch of crap everywhere that I have to clean up. There you go, it's running it. Currently, it's building the RAID, which is why you see the light on constantly for the drives. It's probably booting at the moment and creating the RAID array. So I have to let it do that for a while. And I can use the machine while it's doing that. That's fine. I have a UPS now. I should mention that. It's a nice trip-light unit. The first one I got, Newegg shipped to me in its retail box, and doing that broke it, so I bought it from Amazon. And now I have one that works. So, as you can see, I'm not putting too much of a load on it there with this one machine. But if I put the other machine that has 6 drives in it, it might go up a notch. But that is not turned on currently because I need to do some massive reorganization on that server. It doesn't need to be on constantly right now because it's not in active use. This one is in active use though, so it is. I have a big project on this one. I got to organize all the files on it, so that's why that's sitting there off. There you go. Everything's plugged into the UPS, at least as far as the servers go. Nothing else is plugged into that right now. So now I just got to put that other RAID array into another machine and we'll copy the data over. Okay, I have the boot screen up. I have all 4 drives in this machine all hooked up. I had to put a video card in here, an AMD Radeon 5670. That thing's old, but it works in Linux, so we're good with that. Got it booted off the USB stick. Okay, so as I've discovered, it seems as though you can't access the MD device right away, and I think that's because MD-admin, or whatever that's called, is not installed. So, according to old Ask Ubuntu here, this is old documentation. This is from like version Ubuntu 10.10. This is literally from 7 years ago, but MD RAID is that old that it might still be relevant. So, yes, MD-admin was not installed. That's why. Then we will take this part, you'll copy and paste that. These are what they look like, by the way. Whoops, forgot to copy the whole thing. And we will bring that back to the terminal here, and we will... There you go. See, it found it. It found the MD device. So I can close terminal here, and it should see the 2 terabyte. Yeah, there we go. There you go. It found everything. So now I've installed FileZilla already, so now I can go into FileZilla and connect to the new server. Let's see if I can do that real quick. Alright, let's see if we can connect here. Do not remember password. Well, whatever. It doesn't matter because this is not a full install anyway. Okay. Alright, we are connected to the new server, which is behind me over there, connected to the UPS and everything. And now I can literally go to, I think, Media? Where is it? Yeah, Media. Ubuntu Mate in there. And there's my drive. So now I can go in there and copy everything that I need from here over to here, which is perfect. Now I can move everything from this device's home folder. There's your home folder. I'll go in there and move all my crap over onto here. And that way I can transfer my files over the network. And there you go. I don't have to even boot into this MD array and screw with it. I can just mount it on a live CD and move all the data over. That is assuming I don't run into permissions problems. I don't think I will, but we'll see. I'm gonna do it this way, and if it doesn't, and if I have permissions issues, I guess I'll mention it in the video. But now it's time to transfer files, so that's literally dragging stuff from here to there and waiting for it to finish. So that's not exciting. We won't film that, but I'll report back once I am done moving all my stuff over and installing all the software I need and all that happy junk. So, hooray. And look at this, folks. We are moving along pretty quickly. Although I think the cable I used is only a 10100 cable, unfortunately. but that's no big deal. But look how much stuff I have to transfer. I'm going to be letting this thing run for a while. Hey folks, I have redone my server yet again. I upgraded the drives last time, and those are still here. But I have an incredible cable mess here because I haven't cleaned it up yet. And I just wanted to show you what I've done to it. I actually have to shuffle boards around. I don't know if you guys remember this board. I think I used it in my original server build I did years ago. It is a... What is this? It is a... If I go to the top of this PDF here, it is a Supermicro C2G41. And it's socket 775 board. It takes DDR3 RAM. There's 4 gigs of it in there. I have a Celeron E8400 in the socket there. You see I have 5 drives here. I have 4 2TB drives. Stupid strap getting in the way. And I have the 40 gig SSD right here. And notice what else I got. I got a second one of these Lian-Li cases. I had to order it all the way from Italy because they're just that hard to find. And it got here in one piece. And as you can see, it's all in one piece and seems to be great. So I have 5 drives here. The motherboard only has 4 SATA slots, which are hidden behind all this wire mess. So I stuck a card in here that I think Grateful42 gave me. It has a RAID controller on board, so it's bootable. And that's what the SSD is connected to. It detects it as an IDE device. It does not do AHCI, so it's pretty primitive. So this is what I've had to do to my server. I've put another ACK bell in here. It's pretty much identical to the other server in terms of the power supply and the motherboard brand, at least. Although I can't put as many drives in here because I don't have the board for it. So this is a spectacular cable mess. And it's probably just going to stay like that because airflow is not going to be impacted. And I know it's going to trigger a bunch of people in my comments. Look at how messy that is. Isn't that making you go insane? I might clean that up later, but right now I'm just focused on getting the machine running. I was just testing it at the moment, so that's what I'm doing to my server. And it's a very quick update. There's not much to see. It's still running the same stuff it was before. I just happened to get a new case and swap out the motherboard, which is really all I needed to do anyway. So I just need to go in there and reset the Ethernet interfaces, and it should be good. And adding this PCI card was a bit of a change. I have IDE in the system now, technically. Although there's IDE on board with this motherboard because it's old. So there you have it. I got the new case. I'll show you what the case... There you go. It looks identical to my other server case. So I have 2 of the same case for my servers, and that's going to look really... They're going to look really smart next to each other. I'm going to have to show you that once it's installed in place. Here's the old motherboard I was using. It's an Asus socket 1156 board. But yeah, there you go. That's this guy. Brand new case, brand new everything. For those of you wondering what this case was, it is a Lian-Li PC-A04. They don't sell them new anymore. They don't even make them like they used to anymore. There's a lot more plastic in newer Lian-Li cases, but they're still good. But I wanted the exact same of what I had because this has 7 hard drive bays in a micro ATX case, and that seems to be pretty hard to find. So I love this case. Decided to get another one. So I'm gonna probably clean up these wires a little bit so that they fit better, and I'm gonna put the server in service, and I'll show you what they both look like next to each other. There you go. These are both servers next to each other, identical cases and everything. As you can see, my main server is not on right now because I need time to go in there and organize all of it. So that's remaining off for the time being. Whereas the junk drawer is doing most of my utilitarian work right now. And of course that's turned on. So there you have it. Doesn't that look smart having the same case next to each other like that? That looks great. Of course the UPS is still connected down there, and that thing is working famously well. Triple-light UPSs are pretty good, I think. So there you have it, folks. That is a small update to my servers. I just had to change the board around, and most of all I wanted to show off just getting another one of these cases. I think that's pretty cool, just because it looks nice. I should mention, it's been a couple days, I got a new cooler For this computer, I got a K987, a Dynatron K987. Excellent cooler. And I now have a Pentium dual-core E5700 in there. I finally found that thing. This is my loaner machine, as it turns out. And look how cool these drives are now. They were in the 30s in my old case, and now they're in the 20s in this case. So this Lian-Li case has much better cooling. And look how much disk space I have to spare now. Should be great. So there you have it. Looks like I have some package updates available. I have about 4 terabytes total of disk space on here, so that should be good enough for me. This is just an add-on to the end of the video, just mentioning the 2 things I did, so there you have it. Hope you like this video, and have a good one, everybody. Ciao.